When you watch the video of the slap happening, well, how do you feel about it? Because I mean, okay, just for context, I think it's very clear that his wife slaps him first, right? And it's in the middle of a club, so obviously probably a New Year's Eve party, the emotions are high, and maybe there's a lot of alcohol involved as well. But how do you feel when you actually saw the slap and all that?
Because it's taken from quite far, right? It's from someone who's on the lower floor and then they're standing in the balcony of the club or something. So at first, I was thinking, oh shit, when is the slap going to happen? Because they were arguing.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to a clip of her like leaning on the ledge with her head in her arms. And Dana White, I was like, oh shit. I remember reading that she slapped him first. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is going to happen? So then she tugs him and she slaps him. And then he immediately slaps back and then he slaps again. And then they go out of view.
Yeah.
And he's a big ass guy, right?
Yeah. That's right.
So I watched it. I was like, wow. It was like I was like, whoa, shit. But I will also say that I it's not one of those videos that I found hard to watch. And I don't know whether that makes me a horrible person or not.
You're basically the target fan for Power Slap League.
No, fuck. I think power slapping is fucking stupid. But I watched it. I was like, oh, wait. It's almost like, okay, there's a couple having a fight, and of course, I share the sentiment that as a man, just as a bigger person, regardless of gender, you shouldn't slap someone else like gender. Of course, men don't slap women. But even if you're a bigger person, you just slap until like that. That's when I was like, oh shit! But I had to think about it. It wasn't something that I deep down inside I was like, oh my god.
So by your logic,
what about you?
By your logic, if he was shorter or smaller than his wife, it would have been okay for him to slap her.
No. So that's where like a giant wife, a giant wife, like Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman when they were together. No, even then, I would say even if you track it by science, right? On average, men have higher muscle density than women, right? So with all that, I still feel as a guy, you should never hit a woman But what about you when you watch the video?
I mean, probably my thoughts also come from the context of following the UFC as a sport and just knowing how Dana White generally treats journalists that he doesn't like, or fighters that he doesn't like and all that. He has, I mean, he's so far his whole entire career, he's managed to use verbal assaults, or basically just use words right, to insult people or scold them and all that, or use his power as the probably a very rich president of the UFC and everything. He's used that to his advantage so this is the first time really seeing him lose his cool, lose his composure, and really strike someone, and unfortunately that person is his wife but if you ask me, am I surprised by seeing someone like Dana White do something like this? I'm not because the things that you read about, you read about what he does or what he says about people who disagree with him and all. It's very clear the guy has certain anger management issues and things like that. So for this to actually be seen now and captured on camera and all that, feels like it's a long time coming, Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
What have been some of? You think what?
If you want to go to the rabbit hole, there's this particular MMA journalist called Ariel Helwani, who for many years has been widely recognized as the leading or one of the best journalists in mixed martial arts, because he was there from the very beginning in the 2000s and everything, and he followed mixed martial arts, and he, from just out of a hobby or interest, it grew into he literally was hired by ESPN to become one of their leading journalists in MMA, and then subsequently he left because of differences and also because of ESPN's relationship with Dana White and the UFC right. But they have a very long history. Ariel Hawani covering the sport, covering UFC, and then after that being banned from covering the UFC, and then after that being reinstated, then after that deciding he will never go to a UFC event and everything. But essentially it boiled down to when early in the days, I think it was UFC 199 or something like that, when they were about to announce that Brock Lesnar, the WWE wrestler, was going to make an appearance and fight at UFC 200. It was meant to be a big secret reveal. And then this journalist, Ariel Hawani, leaked the information. He knew the information, he got the information, and then he leaked it before the announcement at the UFC event. And that apparently pissed off Dana White so much that since then he's banned Ariel Hawani and has said a lot of bad things about him in the media, in the press, and everything. And basically even jostling ESPN and all to push Ariel Hawani out, which is essentially what happened. Ariel Hawani left ESPN. So, long story short, Ariel Hawani he's also provided a lot of receipts about how badly he's been treated by Dana White in the UFC. So if you follow the sport and you read his things or you listen to his podcast or watch his videos, basically it's a very Dana White is not exactly a saint either, right? And that's why watching all this unfold, it's kind of like you kind of saw it coming, and unfortunate that it happened, but it's now is like the time of reckoning, Can the UFC continue with Dana White as the president? But for you, do you ever, for any point of time, do you ever, because there are people who are saying this on the internet, that the wife slept first, what? So, I mean, you expect him to just like not retaliate, especially when there's alcohol and everyone's emotions are so high and all that.
Because gender equality, is it?
Sorry, what?
Because gender equality,
gender equality plus, alcohol, makes people make bad decisions. So it's not like he was at home and then he punched her in the face or anything like that, right? It was in a public space and she slapped him first. She got emotional. She slapped him first, provoked him to respond, right? Is there we all say domestic abuse, but does it exist on the spectrum where a slap in a club is very different from punching someone at home? Like, is there any place to maybe find forgiveness for Dana White in that case?
I mean, like, I don't think it is completely binary. Like, if you're at home and your wife is like over you, just punching you in the face, like you can't just like take it,
That means what, you beat back?
You can't just
beat back.
No, not beat back. Like, I don't know, like defensive maneuver or something, But that's where I also feel like, okay, like there's hitting a woman, but there's also self-defense, Like when I was thinking about it before, I'm like, why is it so ingrained in us that the man cannot hit the woman? And how I thought about it was, like if you look at the average weight, average height, average muscle density, I would even go so far as to say as average strength. I don't know. Typically, I would imagine it would skew towards males, right? So, but even though I know the arguments in MMA itself, for those transgender athletes, where you talk about these sort of differences, it gets very, very polarizing, Some people are saying that, of course, a man who undergoes sex change, becomes a woman, should be able to compete in a women's competition because he's a woman, But then the argument, the moment they look at a lot of the physical factors, is clearly an imbalance, right? So that's why I feel, okay, as a guy, you shouldn't hit a woman. But yeah, it is. I do think it's not super. How you say? No, I would say by and large, only in extreme circumstances you fight back. But the whole he slapped back. Yeah, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, I would add to...
but how will you respond? Yeah.
I would add to your options of just sitting there taking it or self-defense. I would add to that, just get away, run away, walk away, right? You don't necessarily... If you feel that you're in that kind of bad situation, especially as like you say, the guy, at least I'm brought up like that, where you walk away, You walk out the situation rather than confront it at that moment, right? And hope that everyone cools down a little bit. Because I think, for the wife's side, violence also wasn't the right option to take, right? Even if she was very upset or something. Especially in a public space like this and all. But yeah, I mean, Dana White, I'm sure he's got bodyguards and everything, like, watching him. So if he walks away, I'm sure it's easy for him to maintain some distance between himself and his wife, right? But that's the hard part, self-control, being able to just like put your emotions aside and just like try to find a space for yourself to just cool down as well.
I'm curious how people of different generations would answer to that. Like, why should a man never hit a woman? Like what you said, I think I also was brought up that way. I don't know whether maybe people like younger generation these days, with a lot more emphasis on gender equality, would ever say anything different. I don't know. I'm curious. But I mean, there's also been statements by the both of them. Dana White recorded a video interview with TMZ, the news outlet that broke the news. And I mean, he did say that it's I'm one of the guys you heard me say for years. There's never an excuse for a guy to put his hands on a woman, and now I'm here on TMZ talking about it. My wife and I have been married for almost 30 years. We've known each other since we were almost 12. We've been through some shit. We got 3 kids, and he's embarrassed. And right now, his focus is on the kids. He said him and his wife are cool. They've spoken about it. They've shown the video to their kids. Now the focus is on the kids, and even she issued a statement. Dana and I have been married for almost 30 years. To say this is out of character for him is an understatement. Nothing like this has ever happened before. Unfortunately, we were both drinking too much on New Year's Eve and things got out of control on both sides.
Yeah.
So I mean, like the only people who haven't really put out a statement as of now is UFC. I think ESPN deferred to UFC. Endeavor hasn't said anything. The share prices of Endeavor, which is a listed company, has dipped by like 17%.
Yeah.
So there is reactions